dream into fruition is self-discipline. You know, something as simple as food and eating. It's not about your body as much as it is about your mind. It's getting command of your mind to be able to choose actions that are in your own best interest. Every day we are choosing that's not in our own best interest. So if the world is attacking you and the world wants to fight you and the world's trying to hold you down, so you're gonna kick yourself in the balls? So you're gonna stop yourself from getting what you dream. And I think the word discipline has kind of gotten a bad name. We think about it in terms of punishment. I'm not talking about discipline in that way. I'm talking about discipline in the sense that you forego immediate pleasure for the exchange of long-term self-respect. I believe that self-discipline is the definition of self-love. That when you say that you love yourself, that means that you have behavior towards yourself that is loving. Self-discipline is the center of all material success. You cannot win the war against the world if you can't win the war against your own mind. I'm not talking about discipline in that way. I'm talking about discipline in the sense that you forego immediate pleasure for the exchange of long-term self-respect. I believe that self-discipline is the definition of self-love. That when you say that you love yourself, that means that you have behavior towards yourself that is loving. Self-discipline is the center of all material success. You cannot win the war against the world if you can't win the war against your own mind.
You're listening to Power Plug Radio, home of your throwback jams.
Hey, we are back. We are back for another week of Power Plug Radio presents the Jumpstart Your Business with Stephanie A. Wynn. I am your host, and happy Saturday. It is June, guys. It is June the 12th. Listen, we're halfway through the month of June. Like, time is not playing, okay? So I want to get into this week's, we have a special guest, guys. We have a really special guest. We have an author Nikki L. Matthews out of Rochester, New York, will be joining us on the second half of the show. She published a book, The Truth About Me. It's a children's book for our Black boys. Really, really great book. Super excited to be interviewing Nikki. So that's going to be on the second half. So let's talk about this weather. Like, it is already, Chandra say it's hot as hell. But it is already at like 10 o'clock, like 86 degrees in Florida. So the high, everybody, in St. Petersburg, Florida, is going to be 88. The low is supposed to be 79. Now, listen. It says 88 as the high, but it feels like 108. So we are going to let's get started, guys. I'm so super excited. I'm excited about this topic today. So this week's topic, we're going to talk about the importance of a support team, but in the first half I want to talk about I want to talk about price pointing your products and services, because a lot of people, you may be a service, you may provide a service, you may have a product, and you may not know how to price point your items, right? Or you want to increase your pricing. So today what I'm going to talk about is 7 ways to raise your rates with confidence, right? So we're going to talk about that in the first half, but the second half, we're going to bring Nikki L. Matthews on. She's an author. Listen, guys, when I tell you is doing big things with this children's book series, she's doing major things. So like I always like to start, what did you guys do this week for self-care? Like, did you all hang out? Did you go get a massage? Did you do yoga? Did you, what did you do? What did you do for self-care? Did you take care of you for this week? What did you do? Did you go to the beach? It's beach weather. It's summertime weather. So did you go to the park? Did you take a walk? Remember, guys, if you're not in good health, like your health is wealth. So if you're not being good to yourself or your body, I'm just saying. So we want to make sure we take care of ourselves, and we're going to get right into it. So as I always like to say and start, whatever, starting a business can be scary and exciting at the same time, right? But before you start the business, it starts with the renewing of your mind. So what is the renewing of your mind? I mean, you need to have a growth mindset. It's just simple as that. You can't have a fixed mindset where, nothing is happening for me. I should have had success by now. This isn't working for me. Everybody else is being successful, and I should have had this done by now. Whatever success looks like for you, right? So a lot of times when you have a fixed mindset, nobody can tell you anything. And so we don't want to have that mindset. We want to have that growth mindset. And what is a growth mindset? Well, a growth mindset is that person who is always looking to grow. They keep going until they succeed at what it is they want to accomplish. So if you want to start that business, guess what? You keep going until you complete that very thing. And you look to help others who are less fortunate than you while you're waiting. You're working while you wait. Does that make sense? Okay. So for those who are listening, I want to give a shout out to Facebook Live. Thank you all for tuning in to this week. Thank you for tuning in. Facebook Live, Twitter, Alexa, Google Play, Apple app, and powerplugradio.com. Our powerplugradio.com listeners, thank you all for tuning in. So we're going to jump right into the first half, which is 7 ways to raise your rates with confidence. Now, if you are a product or service-based business, what do I mean by product-based? Product-based meaning you have a physical product that you're selling, like books, skincare, it's templates, or, you're selling something, a physical product in exchange for money, right? Or if you're a service-based, so if you provide some type of service, so if you're a coach, you're a consultant, or you are a brand developer, or you are a graphic designer, so remember, you want to be confident in your pricing when you're price pointing, but you also want to have confidence when you raise your rates. Same thing for my cosmetologists, my barbers out there, you guys do a lot, and you bring out the best in people. You make people, you're transformers. I say you guys are transformers because, you come in looking one way, you come out looking amazing, right? So again, shout out to all my healthcare industry workers, skincare line consultants, and estheticians. But I want to talk about this because I think it's such a need to go over how you price point and raise your prices with confidence. So I'm gonna go over 7 ways to raise your rates with confidence. So let's start with let's go into this. So raising your rates is never just about asking for more money, right? Or hiking your fee up. So it's all about moving to the next level of your business at the right time, with both you and your clients feeling good about it, right? So what I'm going to do is talk about these 7 things. So number 1, know your true worth. A lot of times and I've been there. The reason why I'm talking about this very thing is because I've been there. Know your true worth. And what do I mean by that? Before you raise your rates, you want to create a specific goal for the new annual figure you arrive at, right? So I'm going to use this as an example. Say you're charging $20 for an item or a service. You want to go up to $50. That's a $30 increase. right? That means, what I mean by that statement, you need to know why you're going up on the price, meaning you got to do your research on your competitors and reaffirm, because you want to reaffirm this to your client. You need to know both your actual value in terms of what you do and your experience and accreditations. So remember, you want to make sure that you understand you know your worth. You've done the research. You've looked at your competitors. You looked at the industry to make sure that this particular item that you're going to increase is well worth and it's of value when you're raising your price, right? So the more specific you are and the more carefully you analyze every facet that warrants this increase, you will realize that you are truly worth the increase and you'll appreciate it along your journey. Does that make sense? So number one is know your worth. Number two, you want to ask with confidence. You got to ask for, I was looking at a webinar this week and she said, a lot of people leave money on the table because they don't ask. They don't ask. So you want to ask with confidence. You owe nobody an explanation for your rates, nor do you have to apologize. In fact, if you feel like you want to apologize, you haven't done all your homework. Meaning, going back to tip number one, you don't know your worth. Confidence comes from a place of knowledge, right? So if you know what it is, like Chandra, our executive producer for the show, Chandra has Urban Drinkery. Chandra know the value of that wine, right? You know the value, right, Chandra? You know what goes into creating that. Again, you know your worth. I'm sorry, y'all, but I have allergies in this heat. So we're asking with confidence. You got to ask with confidence. That's number two. Number three, always add value when you raise your rates. I can't stress this enough. What do I mean by that? If you want clients and new prospects to accept your rates without, complaining, show them the increased value and focus on how this will move them closer to their big results. Again, you want to do the research to find out exactly what will be the most value enhancing addition in your ideal client's eyes. So again, you want to make sure that when you're raising the rates, that is of value. Does that make sense? I want to give a shout out to Paul Jackson for tuning in. Thank you, Paul, for tuning in on Facebook Live. Shout out to Facebook Live and all of our listeners on powerplugradio.com. Thank you for tuning in. So does that make sense? So you always want to add value when you raise your rates. This is a topic that we need to discuss because you have a right to increase your pricing, right? So, and number 4, count your successes. So what do I mean by that? If you're having trouble justifying a price hike to yourself, first think of your successes. Write down who you've helped, how you helped them, and what you helped them do. Then write down their before and after results. So I'll give you an example. If someone comes to me for brand development, they don't have a brand. They're not clear of their brand prior to coming to see Stephanie. Well, I know that I took them from not having a brand to having a brand. And now the people know who they are as a business. Does that make sense? So you want to make sure that when you've transformed, even for my cosmetologists and my service-based people, coaches, life coaches, if you've transformed someone from going from point A to B, they're better off than they were before they came through you. That's success. When you've done that, you raise your rates to reflect the value you now realize you provide, right? So raise the rates and have confidence doing it, right? So that's number 4. Now, number 5, we're going to take the personal out of price hikes. So if you have just created new coaching packages, let's talk about the coach. So if you're a coach and you just created coaching packages, Like, you know, you want to highlight the one you feel will suit your client the best. So the one package that will suit your client the best. So what happens is you're gonna create these coaching packages. You send them to the link on your website. Say, okay, here's the packages that I offer, right? Let me know which one you feel is best. But a great leader should know which package is best for their client. Don't give them the option to choose. Here it is. This is what I offer. This is where I feel you will fit in, right? So what this does is put the ball back in your client's court while making their own like decisions and making them feel confident about what they're about to get, right? So this helps your client understand that, okay, she's giving me options. This is the option that I feel is best. She feel is best for me. He or she feel is best for me, right? So this takes the personal out of announcing price hikes, which is often the factor that makes asking for higher fees feel so difficult. So if you put it back on the client, they don't feel so, you don't feel so bad as to why the increase in your pricing, right? And number 6, you always want to give advance notice. So when you're about to raise your prices, your rates, you want to give advance notice. Don't just spring a rate increase up on your clients. Like set a deadline. One that is neither too short nor too long. The end of the month is a good one. If you tell them after the first session of the month, you need to prepare your audience for that. Hey Margaret, thank you for tuning in. So again, you want to give advance notice when you're raising your pricing. And send out reminders to your client list, right? So if you have a client list, like I have, there a barber who went from being a barber to owning his own shop, and he remodeled his shop. He created an experience for his audience, his clientele, right? And so what happens is, thank you for sharing, Margaret. What happened is he created an experience, an environment where they can come and relax. They can get a drink. They can talk, That's perfect. Like he created an environment that was welcoming, that they wanted to come and be a part of this shop. Even when they didn't have an appointment, they wanted to come and just chill. So he made it available for them to relax. So now what he did was, once he did the remodeling, he notified his clients, okay, hey, these are my pricing. It's going to be effective January 1st. He gave them a month's notice. Like, okay, and every one of his clients that sat in his chair, hey, I got new pricing. New price is going to be effective January. Check it out on the website. Let me know if you have any questions. They never questioned him. Some did, some didn't. But for the ones that were consistent, they gladly welcomed it. You know what I'm saying? Because they're getting a value. Now, I get a drink. They saw the value. So I get a cocktail while I'm waiting. Or I get, some soda, water, So now is really of value. And I am going to keep coming back. Man, I went to that barbershop, and it was nice. It was relaxed. They were playing nice music. Oh man, I got off work. I just want to go and just relax. Right? Yeah. So that's number 6. Give advance notice when you're about to raise your rates, right? And number 7, this is the last one. Point out your increased value prior to your price hike. What do I mean by that? A great way to do this with existing clients, ask them to update their testimonials when you let them know you're going to be raising your prices. Do this by following the format. So there's a format to doing this. So what you want to do is you want to be able to, before you increase your pricing, Sometimes you already have testimonials on your website, or when someone goes to get their haircut, some of the barbers have these different apps, and so people leave reviews on their apps. So what you want to do is you want to have your existing clients, go in and update their testimony. Some of them allow you to update your testimonies, right? So testimonials. So you can either have them update their current testimonial or add another one about the new experience in the barbershop or wherever you are getting this service, right? So that's just some examples. So I'm going to run back through them. Number one, you want to know your true worth when you're raising your rates. Number two, ask with confidence. You ask with confidence, right? Remember, nobody owes you an explanation for your rates, nor do you have to apologize, right? Number three, always add value when you raise your rates. Always add value. Remember, the barber was able to raise his rates. Nobody really complained because they saw the value in it. So Margaret says, posting it in your business is another way to inform. Correct. People don't mind paying more for good stuff. Absolutely. That's true. People don't mind paying for, you offer them a drink. I'm in this relaxed mode. Yes. I'll pay whatever you selling. I'm buying everything you selling, right? So, and then number three, always add value when you raise your rates. Like I said, you want to make sure there's value there. Number four, count your successes. Number five, take the personal out of the price hikes. Don't get emotional about your pricing. Your price is your price. In fact, put it back on the client. Like, give them options, especially if you're a life coach or you're a consultant. Give them, you listen to what their problem is. You provide them with the solution. Number six, give advance notice. So don't just spring your price hike on your audience or your clients. Give them advance notice. Like, be a great, give them advance notice. And number seven, point out your increased value prior to your price hike. Okay. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to take a pause for the cause. And I hope these tips, the 7 ways to raise your rates with confidence, helped you guys, because listen, it's okay to raise your pricing. We're like 6 months out to the remainder of the year, and I want you guys to get ready for 2022. And to do that, you need to start now. Start thinking about what pricing you're going to be charging for the new year, upcoming year. Again, time is of the essence, and time doesn't wait on no one. So we're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we're going to have our guest speaker, Nikki L. Matthews.
You're listening to Power Plug Radio, home of your throwback jams. You're listening to Power Plug Radio, home of your throwback jams.
All right, we are back. We are back from the break, and I just want to thank you all for tuning in to the Power Plug Radio, the Jumpstart Your Business with Stephanie A. Wynn. Shout out to Facebook Live. Shout out to powerplugradio.com. I also want to shout out to Twitter, YouTube, Amazon, Google app, and the Apple app. Thank you all for tuning in this Saturday morning. And I'm going to introduce our special guest. We have a special guest this morning, which is Nikki L. Matthews. She's an author, y'all, and she is amazing, amazing. So, all right. So Nikki Matthews loves writing almost as much as she adores children. An 80s baby born in Florida and raised in New York, her superpowers are listening and building relationships. As a defender of children, it is in her heart to create a children's series that encourages and uplifts Black and brown boys and girls. As an educator, counselor, coach, and mentor, Nikki enjoys listening to children and hearing their perspective on various topics. Delightfully ordinary and strong, she's afforded the best view and learns daily from her three beautiful and kind boys, Miles, Christian, and Wells. Nikki resides in New York with her thoughtful and dedicated husband, Tori, and together they are creating a legacy for generations to come. Now, I'm going to say this because, you know, that saying, you don't have to be blood to be family. Let me tell you, Nikki and her family we're like family now. Like, we're family. And she is super amazing. She published her book, The Truth About Me, during the pandemic. And so we want to welcome you to the show. Welcome, Nikki.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Stephanie, for having me here. I am so ecstatic.
Awesome. So, Nikki, we're going to get right into it. I was talking about on the first half of the show, I was talking about the importance of, you know, having confidence in raising your price, like being confident in why, you know, you should raise your price. And I gave 7 tips. But for our half of the show, we're going to talk about the importance of having a support team. And so tell us about what made you write. Tell us about what made you write The Truth About Me.
Absolutely. Yeah. So The Truth About Me really was birthed years ago. I've been writing children's stories and just never really had that push to make it happen. And having my older son and just wanting books for him to see and see representation, I just felt like it was missing. And I was the one to go and, diversify the audience, right, in the books. And so that was my motivation for doing that. And now having 3 boys is even more so important to me. I think that there's a lack of representation of Black and brown boys in literature. And we know literacy is crucial, right, to growth and education and how well they would do as they get older. So I just felt compelled to do that.
Awesome. And you did it during the pandemic.
Yes.
So let me ask you this question. So this is going to lead me into my next question, Nikki. You felt compelled to write this book, even though it stemmed from years ago. You know, I can totally relate because when I wrote Ready, Set, Go, A Simple Guide to Establishing a Successful Small Business, I wrote that book based off of my experience having my first business at the age of 23. I had an ice cream shop and I had no point of reference, right? And so for a Black female at that time, it was really hard. You know, we didn't have social media. It was straight, when I say ground roots marketing, door hangers, going door to door, trying to beat the door down to get even on the Black radio stations at that time. It was really hard. And so the funding was not available to me at that time, but I had a passion and a purpose. And I knew that I wanted to open up this ice cream shop. So yes, it is. I can definitely relate to you when you talk about, you know, this is something that has been stemming in you for some time, and now it's here. And so that's going to take me to my next question. What did you have a support team when you decided to write your book and during the publishing process?
Yes, I definitely had a support team. Once I was ready and felt comfortable to finally say it out loud, I had been sprinkling the thoughts to friends and family, and I finally said, "This is what I want to do to my husband, my in-laws, and my brother." And I said, "Listen here, this is what I want to do," and they were totally on board. And with the pandemic hit and things slowed down, and I had more time and was in isolation, and there was social injustice and unrest and community just disparity. It was just the time to, essentially pull the trigger to make it happen. And so, my husband gave me the space and time and energy to do what I needed to do. And there was so much time looking at social media, and I saw, with your boot camp class for authors, and I took the course, and then you joined that support team, right? And then I kept it short and tight with some close family and friends who knew my heart and what I was aiming to do. And with the help of them together, we made it happen, right? They supported me along the journey and still continue, right?
Yes. So I wanted to ask you this question. Was it, what was one of your challenges you think with publishing your book? Did the boot camp help you? I know you took the boot camp before you actually started the publishing process, but do you feel like the boot camp really helped because you had not published a book? Do you think that will help aspiring authors and emerging authors? Do you think that helped you help understand the terminology of what was about to take place?
Yeah. So anytime you have a new dream and it may not be your niche, right? It may not be something that you are well versed in. You need to find people who are competent and can produce a product, help you produce a product. And so by taking the boot camp class, it really helped me understand the lingo of the field, what's important, what's time worthy, what's money worthy. And so I learned a lot through the boot camp class. I know I couldn't have published this book without coming on board as a client because I don't know everything like most people, right? And so you have to hire people who are competent in the area and can make sure that what you are asking for, they can help you produce. And then you need to make sure you do what you need to do so they can do their job.
Gotcha. So you holding yourself accountable. I heard that in there.
Yes, you got to hold yourself accountable.
Yes.
Because it's your name, right? Yes. It's your name on the product.
Definitely. Now, let me tell you something, guys. This is something that Nikki hasn't shared, and I'm going to share this with the audience. Nikki she published her book. By the way, you can get a copy of that book, The Truth About Me, at Miles, MYLES, TONES, and co.com. Nikki has ordered her book. She ordered her first order of books. And Nikki has been on the move selling her books. And Nikki, I want you to help if there's like aspiring authors out here or authors who are already that are tuning in. One thing about being an author, and I say this all the time, if nobody knows that your book exists, how do they know to buy what you're selling, right? How do they even know to buy your book? Yes, if it's on Amazon, that's good. But you really should, at the very beginning or even during the publishing process, you want to find out, like, what is the purpose of your book? So, Nikki, tell us, what was one of your goals for your book?
How did I work? One of my goals for the book was to get the book in hands of young children. My thought process is that because one of the things the media does is attack people's character, especially Black and brown people. So if I can get this book into younger children, then maybe I can help them understand how amazing, kind, thoughtful, brilliant, smart children are, especially Black and brown boys. And so I zone in until libraries, schools, daycare centers, just being very intentional about that and finding people who are committed to doing their part to change the narratives of Black and brown children, especially boys. And so you have to just be mindful and attentive on who cares about what you care about, right? Because not everybody cares about what you care about. And so by finding that, you will find the people who will love what you have to offer, will support, will do word of mouth, will share your posts, will, shoot you a text giving you encouragement. And so that was one of the things that I was very intentional about and learned along the process through the boot camp class and, learning on the fly, essentially. Definitely.
Now, see, and this is something that I tell all authors that you really want to ask yourself, like, what's the purpose of your book before you start the publishing process? Like, for example, like Nikki said, she knew what she wanted. The goal was for her to get this book into as many children's hands as possible because she wanted to change the narrative of what we've been seeing lately on the news, right? With the Black and brown community, specifically boys and women. So same thing with me, Ready, Set, Go. I knew that I wanted to give my audience a simple guide to establishing a successful business. So your business is going to succeed. If you have the idea, it's already going to be successful, right? And I think that a lot of authors it's the fear of the unknown. So did you have any fear when you were publishing your book?
Oh my gosh, yes. And I'm going to go back to this, having a coach really helps you zone in on what the issue is and give you goals to make. And so one of my biggest issues or concerns was, what are people going to think about my product, right? And I like to keep things that I love close to my chest. I'm a very protective person. My circle is small and tight. And so I was very scared to let the world know what I was working on. And it took me a very long time to finally put it out there on social media, what I have been working on. And the response was absolutely beautiful. I mean, it shocked my mind. Oftentimes we have that little thought in our head that we're not good enough or they're not going to like this or what children are going to think about this. But you know what? When it's your passion, when you know it's missing, when you are just fired up about it, you have to go back to that support system, that close-knit people who can help you center yourself again. So that was one of the biggest hurdles I had to get past with being concerned about what people may think and will people like it. Because again, if you go back to people who care about what you care about, then that's your solution.
See, so listen, and Nikki, I'm just so proud of you. I'm so proud of you for publishing this book, getting your message out to the Black and brown community, specifically our children. Like, they need to see this. They need to see more of books with, and that's a rarity. For those that don't know, there's not many books out here with Black and brown boys and girls. Well, they have them most of them are for girls, but there's a rare find for Black and brown boys books, children's books. So I'm super excited for you. So Nikki, what we do on the show is we always like to give our audience 3 business tip takeaways. And so what's 3 tips that you can give aspiring authors who are looking to be successful as an author? What's 3 tips you would give them?
Number 1, hire a coach who knows the business of being, or what it means to be an author and what authorship looks like, especially if if you don't have the understanding of it. Nothing's wrong with it. You hire a doctor, a dentist, a teacher, your mechanic, same kind of concept, so hire a coach, number 1. Number 2, find your small niche of people who are going to cheer you on, hold you accountable, not let you slack off. My son, he would ask me, have you met a deadline yet? When's your book going to be released? He constantly asked me those questions and I couldn't fail him. And 3, I would say go with your gut. You're going to be talking to different people, illustrators, different companies who are going to help you produce this product that you have dreamed about for months and years. And a lot of decisions are going to fall on you. And so going with your gut, making sure that you are comfortable with the decision, taking the time to make the decision. Don't make decisions prematurely. I will also add that as the last tip is to go with your gut and take your time to make a decision.
Awesome. And so we have business tip takeaway number 1 is hire a coach.
Yes,
Number 2, get a support team. And that's what we're talking about, like the importance of a support team. Like I talk about that in my book, Ready, Set, Go, A Simple Guide to Establishing a Successful Small Business, like getting you a support team, like creating your team. You're going to need a team because you can't do this, especially if, we hear this term all the time. I want to take my business to the next level. I'm ready to go, take my brand to the next level. But before you go to any level, before you get to any bag, you have to have a system in place and you need to have a team in that system. That system needs to include your support team because you're going to need help because you can't do it by yourself. And I know we have solopreneurs where we start off by ourselves, but it's okay to get the people that you need to move you, that's going to propel you forward. So I want to thank you for those tips, Nikki. So we got hire a coach, number 1. Number 2, get a support team. Number 3, go with your gut. And also, guys, go and support Nikki. We're all about supporting small businesses. And one of Nikki's goals is that tell us about your entrepreneur journey. Like, do you like being an entrepreneur, Nikki?
Yes. I was so shocked that I enjoyed the business side of entrepreneurship. I really like the business side of it. I like talking to the different companies, finding quotes, finding resources, making connections in the community. I love looking at invoices, looking at the bottom line, how much we spent, how much we earned. I actually enjoy that part. And I didn't foresee that aspect of myself. So I learned that through this process. Mm-hmm. And so that is something that surprised me that I have enjoyed. The process is, just being consistent. The beauty of being an entrepreneur is making decisions on your own. Mm-hmm. And I love it. I love being able to decide what I want and how I want it and making sure that my brand, the experience that people have with me from the customer service side to receiving their product is a beautiful experience. I absolutely enjoy that part of this journey.
So I always talk about you got to know your numbers. I talked about this like a couple weeks ago. Like we know the numbers coming in, but when we talk about those numbers going out, that doesn't really feel so good. So you need to know that is so vital with being an author, with even starting your own business. You got to know your numbers. So I want to thank you so much, Nikki, for coming on the show today. Do you have any additional comments or any, you want to drop any more jewels on the audience that they can take and to help them prepare for their entrepreneurship journey?
I would just want to encourage you. There are so many different distractions that are around, and as things become more normalized in our communities, stay committed to your dreams. There's so many different distractions. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I have a full-time job, I have this business, and all these different other roles. But I find the time to make it happen because it's important to me. I believe it's important to our community. I believe it's important to Black and brown children, especially. And so I just want to encourage you to find that time and make your dream a reality. You are worth it. Mm-hmm. You are worth it. So thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate your time and energy. I thank you, Stephanie, for being my coach and helping me throughout this process. And we're going to continue to win.
Yes, we definitely. Hey, that's what my last name is. It's Wynn. I'm so excited for you and I'm proud of you. So this is the part of the show where I talk about the ships. At some point on your entrepreneurship journey, you're going to encounter many ships. That is entrepreneurship, entrepreneurship, companionship, relationships, friendships, right? But whatever ship you choose, make sure that your ship is solid. And what I mean by that for the purpose of this episode, make sure that your support team is solid. Make sure that you have the right people on your team that's going to help you and believe in your vision just as much as you believe in it. That's going to help you propel your vision forward, right? So I want to thank you, Nikki L. Matthews, author, mom, wife, everything. Like, I'm so excited for your journey. So excited for your journey. Guys, pick up her book. It's at Miles. Tell the people, Nikki, how they can follow you and how they can get a copy of your book.
Absolutely. So I have a website, Milestones and Co. That's MYLESTONESANDCO.com. I'm also on Facebook, author Nikki L. Matthews, also Instagram, author Nikki Matthews. I love to make connections. Even if you have a product you think that it would be a nice collaboration, I am open to that. And so, find me.
Yes. Yes. So, and we also, for our Facebook listeners, it's in the, we dropped it in the comment section along with those 3 business tips that she dropped on us this morning. And Nikki, again, you're always welcome to come back on the show. We really appreciate you. And again, The Truth About Me is available now. It's on her website. It's on Barnes & Noble, Target.com, Amazon, like all of the platforms. So, all right.
Thank you so much.
All righty, you all. And we're going to go ahead and get out of here. So listen, tune in every Saturday to Power Plug Radio. You can stream live on Facebook, Facebook Live, Power Plug Radio, or powerplugradio.com. This is your host, Stephanie A. Wynn, with Jumpstart Your Business with Stephanie A. Wynn. Until next time.
You're listening to Power Plug Radio.